and welcome to Galileo TV. My name is Silvia Romano, Chief International Affairs for Central Study Galileo. Today, I am pleased to be with Andrea Voigt, Head of Global Public Affairs for Danfoss. Hello, Andrea.
Hi, Silvia, and thank you for inviting me to the interview.
Thank you very much for being with us. Unfortunately, we have to be remotely, but we make the best, of course, of this new way of working. And Andrea, I'm very pleased to talk with you, especially to have our viewers learn more about your new role. Because first of all, our congratulations for your new role in Danfoss. We've known you for a very long time as EPE Director General, and are more than happy to continue our cooperation now. And all these years, you have worked relentlessly for the sector's development and have always remarked the importance of training. So how do you see its role nowadays, especially in light of the recent updates, for example, the F-gas revision proposal or the technology options?
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, first of all, for the congratulations. So it's just a year now that I changed jobs between EPE and Danfoss. And of course, the link between the two is our sector, the refrigeration, air conditioning, heat pump sector, and heating sector. So still very much related to our industry, and of course, training, as was for EPE, is also very, very important for Danfoss, because without well-trained installers, all these great ideas about the green transition and about getting carbon neutral and about decarbonizing heating and cooling, about more energy efficiency, about digitalization, all of that is not possible if we don't have the people in place to really implement it on the ground. And what we see is that, unfortunately, not only there are not enough installers, and depending on the region and the country, that's more or less important, but I think it's a general observation that there is a lack of installers and that it's unfortunately not so easy to attract people to the profession. So I think it's very important to make this change and to do all we can to raise awareness about the importance of the job, and also about the fact that it's a very attractive and a very interesting job, because you can really hands-on do something in order to advance the climate and the energy goals. And now, as energy security is such a big topic, actually an installer can make a huge difference, really, by maintaining, for example, correctly the installations. If you take a cooling installation and if the heat exchanger is dirty, for example, it'll just consume more energy, and you need people. You need people to maintain them and to make sure that they run efficiently. So the installer can really make a huge difference with little things like that. And then, of course, also, if you mentioned the F-gas regulation, of course, also as we move into the refrigerant transition and move towards more and more flammable and more high pressure refrigerants like hydrocarbons and like CO2, then of course it's also crucial that we have the people in place who can handle those refrigerants and who have the skills to handle those refrigerants, because flammable means also risk, and that risk needs to be managed, and for that you need people who know how to deal with it. And same goes, it's really throughout. If you take digitalization, digital solutions, remote monitoring and control, and again, if you really want to tap into that potential, you need the people to operate it. And there again, we are with the installers. So I think they can really make a huge difference. Also, another example that just comes to my mind, the European Commission now really has a very strong focus on heat pumps in order to decarbonize heating and to phase out fossil fuels, or at least to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels. Those heat pumps, millions and millions and millions of heat pumps in the coming years, they need to be installed. they need to be sorry, they need to be maintained. So we need the people who can do that. Heat pumps run on F gases, so they need to be certified if we're talking about Europe. So a big need, really, a big need, and a lot of opportunities, I think, for the profession. So whatever can be done to elevate it and to get people on board, the better it will be.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Your words are very inspirational. And I would like now to focus a bit on Danfoss. There are a few topics that are dear to this company, such as the IoT, remote controls, energy efficiency, as you said, and building automation. So how do you think they affect our sector?
Well, I think what we see right now is if I'm taking the angle from a policy angle, we see that we have a lot of legislation upcoming and being revised in the Fit for 55 package that will really push into that direction. We will see concrete angles in policy files that will, for example, put the focus on energy efficiency. Take buildings, for example, on energy efficiency in buildings, making sure that buildings are not the lowest energy efficiency class, but get a higher energy efficiency class, and their technical building systems can make a huge difference. So, for example, there is a focus on very low payback options like hydronic balancing, for example, in order to bring down in a very short time frame the energy consumption of heating in buildings. And that we can see coming in via policies like the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive. Then we see a push for more building automation and control systems, specifically for larger buildings, commercial buildings, for public buildings as well, in order to reduce the energy consumption in buildings and to optimize also the energy flows in buildings. So that's certainly another one which we will see more and more. The IoT in general, I mean, Internet of Things is everything is connected today, and again, this can also have a huge impact on behavior of people, because when you see what you consume, for example, or when you can remotely influence that, then of course, that makes you think also as a consumer yourself. What can I do? How can I optimize? How can I save money? How can I save energy? And now in these difficult times, even more so, as the energy prices are soaring. Or what else? Also, what we see really coming is remote monitoring and control, continuous monitoring, so that you can intervene when you see that an installation is not operating as it should, for example, or consuming more energy as it should, or leaking refrigerant, for example, so that really we can work on that immediately. So there are a lot of developments that are clearly upcoming and that very much point into the direction of more energy efficiency, whether it's in buildings, whether it's in industry, whether it's in food retail. It's really a strong trend, I would say. And what we really need is then, on the one hand side, we'll get the policies in place which will hopefully further push that. On the other hand side, what we also need is just that it's better understood, that it's better understood in the market also, what's out there in terms of solutions and what the impact of those solutions is. For example, I saw yesterday, I read an article in the German press, which was published a couple of days ago. The German minister of economy, Robert Habeck, who said people should really use hydronic balancing for heating systems, because if this is done all over Germany in German households, then we can save altogether up to, I think it was 15% of the energy consumption. And then a little bit later in the text he said, but actually, what is hydronic balancing? Who knows what that is? It's one of those measures which is pretty tangible, actually. It means when you have a building and the heating, the radiators downstairs, they may be very hot, and the further up you go, the colder they get, because the water doesn't circulate as it should. And so the pumps need to run more in order to heat the water and in order to get it up so that it's warm everywhere in the same way. So, but it's a very simple thing, actually, but very little people know about it. So, and in times like this, when energy is really so important, then you need to have the installers in place to put it in place, and then you need to have the people who know about it. And then the legislation, if the legislation pushes for it, it's of course even better. But that's just one example. There are lots of examples like that. So we see really a move a push into that direction of energy efficiency, digitalization, and controls, monitoring.
And concerning practical examples, you just mentioned a few, even though they're not really about Danfoss. So I wanted to ask any projects, international projects that are active right now that you would like to talk about. Perhaps they have something to do also with this.
Definitely, yeah. Coming back to the importance of installation and having people with the right skills in place. One of the international projects where we are very much involved right now is in East Africa, in Rwanda, in Kigali, where there is a center being built or refurbished and built and extended, which is called the African Center of Excellence for Sustainable Cooling, or in short ACES, and which, for example, will look into attracting installers and educating them, showing latest technologies, but technologies that are suitable for their market, for the local needs, and also research and development a little bit, new business models, is really to build up skills for the African market, for the needs in that region, and not just coming from the outside, from Europe, and saying, this is wonderful, we have it in Europe, and therefore we should do it in Africa. It's really to see that things can be developed that are suitable for the local context. So that's an international project where we are involved together with the University of Rwanda and also several UK-based universities and also the DEFRA from the UK government. So different stakeholders being involved, and that's, I think, very promising, because it'll be very concrete in terms of skills for the people. So that's one. Another one which just came to an end was the International Energy Efficiency Conference, which took place in Sonderborg. So that is not a specific Danfoss project. It's an international project by the International Energy Agency. They organize every year this conference, and this year it took place in southern Denmark, close to the German border, and also not very far away from the Danfoss headquarters. And there, that was a very tangible example to see energy efficiency in action. And as Danfoss, we were involved in supporting the cases that were shown at that occasion. Just as an example. So there were cases, for example, application cases, field studies, if you like for example, a supermarket where the heat is being recovered from the cooling installations and then fed into a district energy system. So that's one. Or our own campus, where we recover the heat from the cooling of data centers and then use that heat for the purposes of the production site, or district energy, which is being sourced with renewable energy sources in the region there as well, and a number of other cases like that. So it was a good opportunity to really show energy efficiency in action, and it attracted quite a lot of people. I think there were more than 300 participants in total. So really big interest in energy efficiency as such, and in those tangible solutions, even though, and to be very clear, that wasn't a Danfoss conference, it was a conference of the of the IEA, but a good opportunity to show energy efficiency in action. So that's another one that comes to my mind right now. There's so much going on right now. I could go on talking forever.
Well, we look forward to welcoming you to one of our events in the future with your new role. For sure, it's very, very challenging, and especially all the projects you mentioned are very exciting. So thank you for sharing more about them with us. We look forward to knowing more. Of course, we welcome all the users to log into your website as Danfoss, especially follow the social media channels, be up to date with all the news. And especially Andrea, we welcome you. We hope to welcome you soon in another event, in a webinar perhaps, or a conference, because we are very, very, very happy of our collaboration with you. So I want to thank you once again for your time today.
Thank you, Silvia, and same here. I think we have had such a fruitful cooperation for the past, I don't know how many years.
Countless.
I'm really looking for, no, nor do I, that just makes us older. So. But no, I really look forward to specifically also look at the training aspect and the skills of the installers and how to attract more people into that profession, and also more women, because unfortunately there's still a lot of things to do to get to something which is a bit closer to gender equality.
Yes, but your role, for example, as that of many other women in the sector, is an inspiration for new girls to join the sector. So we're hopeful for the future. And once again, thank you for your contribution, not only to our cooperation, but also to the whole sector. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Silvia. Thank you.